arrest warrants. The FBI today busted the leaders of Detroit's Mafia. It's the FBI's latest attack on organized crime in America's big cities. But despite the crackdown, the top FBI official says what he calls the Cosa Nostra remains, and I quote, the most significant organized crime threat in America. Correspondent Jim Stewart has the FBI story.
They may have been the smallest, but they were easily one of the most successful mafia families left in America until today.
You're saying you guys are big players in the Mafia. Is that true?
Your father is.
Who is?
In coordinated raids, the
Hey, how are you today? I hope you're doing well. If you're new to the channel, I welcome you. And if you're returning, welcome back. That is usually how I start, and that is how I will start today. Now, I'm glad you're with me on this sunny day, and I want to take you and show you something that I found interesting. Now, I learn a lot when I do these vlogs, and I like to share that information with you, and some of it you may find interesting. Now, if you've watched my channel or you subscribe, then you know I've done tons of gangster sites all across the country, from Bugsy Siegel in Beverly Hills to all kinds across the Midwest. Al Capone, Sam Giancana, Roger Terrible Toohey, the St. Valentine Day Massacre, Frank Nitti, Machine Gun Jack McGurn, Jaime Weiss, and many, many more. I couldn't even count them all. But today I am going to tell you about a Detroit gangster, notorious Detroit gangster, one of the Giacalone brothers, Anthony. Now, he's also known as Tony Jocks. And one of the things he's best known for is the meeting that never took place. He was supposed to have a meeting with Jimmy Hoffa at the Red Fox, or he was one of the ones listed to have the meeting. Hoffa was supposed to meet with Provenzano and Giacalone at the Red Fox. Now, if you've watched my Hoffa vlog, you'll know I did many of the sites in the Hoffa Disappearance, including the Red Fox and the house from The Irishman, where Frank Sheeran says he did the hit on Jimmy Hoffa. But Giacalone's name really came into national news with the disappearance of Hoffa.
On July 30th, 1975, Jimmy Hoffa left his Lake Orion home about 1 p.m. On his office calendar, a note said TG, 2 p.m., Red Fox. On his way, Hoffa stopped at a friend's limo service where he told an employee that he was on his way to meet three men, Tony Giacalone, Tony Provenzano, and a Giacalone associate named Lenny Schultz.
So today, I'm right outside Detroit. I'm in Southfield, Michigan, I believe. I'm at Holy Sepulchre Cemetery, and I want to show you the final resting place of Tony Jocks. Tell you about this notorious Detroit gangster. Let's go check out the final resting place of Anthony Giacalone. We'll see if we can find it in the mausoleum. Sometimes it takes a lot of time searching, but I want to tell you a little bit more about him. Alrighty guys, let's walk through the mausoleum and try to find the final resting place of Tony Giacalone. Now, I spend a lot of time in cemeteries and mausoleums all across the country. Sometimes it takes me hours of going room to room, searching for people in a mausoleum. Now, we're gonna go find Tony Jocks, where he's laid to rest, and I'm gonna tell you more about his role in the Detroit Mafia. He was one of the biggest, the Giacalone brothers. I'm gonna tell you what his role was when it came to Hoffa and becoming well known in the news. So let's go find the final resting place of Tony Giacalone here at this mausoleum. But as you can see by looking, it's huge. It's a massive mausoleum, like most of them that I visit. And like I said, sometimes I have to go through different wings. I have to go on different floors, and it really takes me a long time to sometimes find the person that I'm looking for to show you. There it is right there. Anthony Giacalone, Tony Jack. And then you can see right above him, Anthony Jr. died in 2013. And then right below him, Jenny died in 2016. But that's the grave of Tony Giacalone. And there's a photo there of Tony Jack. Now, of course, he was a member of the Detroit Mafia, and the Giacalone brothers were actually top members of the mob in Detroit, and he was a suspect in the murder of Jimmy Hoffa. Okay, let's first talk about the Jimmy Hoffa disappearance. Now, many experts and authors who have studied it have said that Mr. Giacalone and his associate, Anthony Provenzano, were probably involved. But we're not going to know for sure, and that may never be answered. Now, Giacalone said he had no plans to meet Mr. Hoffa that day. At the time of Hoffa's lunch date, Giacalone's alibi was that he was getting a haircut. So Giacalone was never charged in Hoffa's disappearance, but an FBI spokeswoman said that he was investigated in that case as well as many others. Now, Giacalone was eventually convicted of tax evasion in '76, and then he ended up sentenced to 10 years in prison because of that, but it was never because of Hoffa's disappearance. See, if you actually look further into why he's a suspect in the Hoffa disappearance, see, Hoffa had been trying to regain control of the Teamsters Union, and he'd been effectively blocked by Giacalone and Provenzano. Now, to exact revenge, many experts believe Hoffa had been cooperating with officials who were investigating organized crime.
He was pushing very, very hard to get back into the Union. And I was concerned about the kind of people who were in the Union that would push back.
People like Hoffa's old prison foe, Tony Provenzano. Hoffa knew he needed Tony Pro's support, and so had a series of meetings with his Detroit Mafia friend, Tony Giacalone, who was related by marriage to Tony Pro. All of this, especially the meetings with Giacalone, so concerned young Jim that he tried to persuade his father to carry a gun and employ a bodyguard. Hoffa had never done either, and said he wasn't about to now.
So these experts say Giacalone and Provenzano might have wanted to exact their own revenge on Hoffa and arranged to have Hoffa killed. But like I said, we're never going to know for sure what really happened. Alrighty, so let me tell you about Giacalone's role in the actual Mafia in Detroit. See, in the Mafia organization in Detroit, he was a capo, or like a captain. And he was listed by the FBI in 1963 as one of the big men and deemed an heir apparent to that, to the Detroit partnership. Now, Giacalone died on February 23, 2001 at the age of 82. He had been admitted to the hospital in Detroit for heart failure and complications arising from kidney disease. And this is his final resting place. Alrighty guys, I'm glad I got to show you the final resting place right here behind me. Suspect in the Hoffa disappearance and the Hoffa murder, and a member of the Detroit Mafia. I appreciate you watching. I've got more true crime, mobsters, filming locations. Subscribe, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.